On this channel, especially recently, you've talked about the downfall of players of clubs. One player, of course, we've talked about his downfall in recent years was in particular Jack Grealish. Now, Jack Grealish, I believe, gets away with a lot of what's happened in the last 2-3 years, mainly due to, I don't know if it's because he's one of the lads that maybe people just feel like he's got a heart of gold and that he's like a puppy dog. Like, he doesn't mean to do anything wrong. He just pees on the floor sometimes. If it's drunk driving or alcohol abuse, or that one picture with him and a certain woman online that still haunts my memories. Deep inside, I feel like everyone in England, definitely not Ireland, wants Jack Grealish to succeed. Because we know for how many years he was at Aston Villa, we know what kind of player he is. And when he went to Man City, yes, he won trophies, and yes, he became a key part of a cog in the system for Pep Guardiola that, was efficient and was useful, but it's not him. Jack Grealish back in Euro 2020 was seen as almost like our Lionel Messi, where he was on the bench for the first few games, and you had every single pub in the country, every single fan in the country begging and waiting for him to be subbed on so that something special may happen from nothing. This is how people rate Jack Grealish. I saw a stat that in the first 2 proper starts he had at Everton, he had 4 assists. Of course, 2 against Wolves and 2 against Brighton. Keep in mind, that is more assists than what Jack Grealish has had in his last 2 Manchester City seasons combined. In terms of minutes played, even in the first 8 games, he's probably not far off matching what he did last campaign already. So what's happened? Why is Jack Grealish now the main name again? Well, it comes down to a few factors, and we're going to get into it. Comment down below your thoughts on Jack Grealish, and it makes me think, if these players at these top clubs, that becomes just a part of the system, if they branched out to other mid-pack teams in the league, I feel like we could get so much more out of them when they have the freedom to become the main man, to become the star of the show, to feel that warmth and that importance. We could see the best out of them. And it's like what we're seeing now. Let's use Manchester United for example. Matheus Cunha was a star of the show at Wolves and was seen as one of the best, players in the league for his efficiency. Now he's just another part of the machine. Brian Mbeumo, same thing. Star of the show for Brentford, scoring all these goals. Now he's just another name on a team sheet. Prime example, Jesse Lingard at United went to West Ham and became almost one of the best players in the league within a month. Importance, that feeling that you wanted, that feeling that you are actually vital to the team, to feel like you're one of the best players of the team. That does so much for confidence, and that's why you see the best out of these players. Comment down below your thoughts, like and subscribe, and Vizeh designs for the best football prints all made by myself. By the time you watch this, I will be in England. That's why everything is currently removed, and getting my house ready for England for when I move over in early November. Yeah, I want to show you these pictures. Jack Grealish at Everton, particularly away at Wolves. This is what he means to Everton. Now, Everton's a football club I've always had a lot of respect for. I was lucky enough to play at Goodison Park a year or so ago. Absolute honour. Proper football club. Proper fans. And considering how much Everton have sucked for all these years, their fans have always still been there in great numbers. And I'm happy that they've actually got a bit of optimism. They've got some hope because it's been so long without any for so long. And Jack Grealish and like Iliman Ndiaye and Dewsbury Hall, they're a key part of that. Jack Grealish has become almost a symbol of what could be the new era of Everton Football Club with the new stadium. It is huge for them. David Moyes in his post-match interview saying that his best compliment he can give to Jack Grealish is that he's even better of a player than he thought he was. That Wolves game would be used as his best game for the club, and in that game he was doing numbers that he never did at City for years. He completed the most dribbles, he had a 91% pass rate, he was fouled the most times, work rate off the ball, won 13 of his 17 ground duels, and dropped back and made 8 recoveries as well. In the most recent game, Everton versus Crystal Palace, he scored the winner in the 90th minute as well. The scenes, the celebrations on that game, on that moment, it's almost infectious. There's fun again. Not just with Grealish, but with even their new players as well, all coming together. Dewsbury Hall now partnering with Iliman Ndiaye. They've now got something there. They've actually got something that you can think, yeah, there's some creativity there. There's some experience there. There's some flair there. Everton are actually good again. Again, Dewsbury Hall is at a sample. Dewsbury Hall is just another name at Chelsea. Goes to Everton, now he's the main man. So why was Jack Grealish for the last 2 years at City just not that good. Like, people just didn't care about him anymore. Why wasn't he played? Jack Grealish is 90 minutes away from matching the same minutes that he had the entirety of last season for Manchester City, with only 1 goal and 1 assist last year in the Premier League, and the year before that 3 goals and 1 assist again. So what's different? People would think because he's playing for a better team that in theory he should get more opportunities, but in Pep's team, or really most top teams, that cannot be the case. You cannot build around one player, unless that player's name is like Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. 3 key differences. Man City always had the ball almost every single game, averaging 60% possession plus across an entire season. Therefore, obviously meaning that Jack Grealish would typically always be up against a low block, a team defender, because usually he'll always have the ball, so he's not got much space to run into. Yes, he's got good dribbling ability, but there's not much using that dribbling ability if it comes with high risk. The high risk of being in tight spaces, trying to go through players, it's something that he can do, but it's something that he'd be told not to do because it runs the risk of losing the ball. So just simply, if it's too risky, pass the ball back and recycle. At Everton, it's obviously different because Everton have less of the ball, there's much more opportunity to attack, to counter, and therefore he's got much more space to run into, meaning that he has the freedom to take a risk, to take on a man. Because under Pep's team, there's such an assurance on keeping the ball at all costs and having the most efficient way of breaking a team possible. At Everton, you kind of just free just to combine and do what you want with your other teammates almost. Of course, there's tactics to it, but you're not exactly chained to a system like you are in Pep's Manchester City. Number 2, Jack Grealish now has the ability to basically go wherever he wants in the forward line of the pitch. At Man City, he was always typically stuck to the touchline to drag out the pitch as much as he can, to try and create space for other players in the midfield or the attack to go into the space in the middle of the pitch. But Grealish was always attached to the touchline. That's why you always see the means of him kind of doing a little shimmy, and then a shimmy down the touchline to then pass the ball backwards to the centre-back. At Everton, they play more like a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, and therefore they actually have an actual traditional left back in Mykolenko, which then he would go to the touchline, offer that width, and then Grealish has the ability to drift inwards to then partner with Dusbujo, Iliman Ndiaye, Beto, whoever else. Meaning that he's now in much more dangerous areas to what it was at Man City. Because even in Grealish's best season for Man City, his numbers weren't anything to really scream about. That treble-winning year, 28 games, he started a lot of them with only 5 goals and 7 assists. He wasn't meant to ever be in the box. He was meant to be a cog in the machine to try to stretch out play, which felt like a complete waste of the talent and ability that Grealish actually possesses. Jack Grealish has made Everton fans dream again. He's a symbol of hope and change and an upward trajectory for supporters at Everton that's been starved at anything even close to success for about what feels like 15 years, 10 years. And even by his own admission, Jack Grealish said that he's almost falling out of love with the game at Man City, that it just doesn't feel exciting to him anymore. It doesn't really give him that freedom. His personality is why people like him a lot, and that's also why people love him at Everton. He's been labelled as the first in and first out at training, recoveries, ice baths. He does everything all correctly and tries to recover in the right way to make sure that he's ready for the next match day. Which I guess is something different to how people believe, because he's seen as his personality likes to drink a lot and maybe that doesn't look after himself, but that seems to not be the case, at least now at Everton, with this new lease of life. But it's City. If he's not playing week in, week out and he doesn't feel important, I don't blame him if he's one that would likely end up in a pub somewhere. If you don't feel important, then you're not going to act like you're important. And that's just human nature. Of course, he is there on loan, and I hope for all that is holy that he can stay at Everton. Because if he goes back to City, he's not going to be the same. So please, Everton, pay the money. Comment down below your thoughts on Grealish. I'm really happy to see that he's back to his best. I think it's really good to see. And of course, the World Cup is around the corner, and I imagine that he should be in that lineup by the end of the year if he continues at this rate. Because ability-wise, I think he's justified that. So comment down below your thoughts, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time for another video. And look after yourself. See ya.